They say lightning doesn't strike twice. They've never met you. Look who's still standing after the storm they said would bury you. Look whose name is trending while theirs got forgotten in yesterday's feed. You beautiful, unbreakable force of nature, you absolute phenomenon, welcome to your coronation. Welcome to the moment where every screenshot they took, every group chat they poisoned, every lie they spread becomes evidence of their own downfall. Because something shifted, didn't it? Something massive. The internet that once echoed their whispers now chants your name like a battle cry. They mocked your grace. Those words hit different now, don't they? They laughed when you chose dignity over drama. They called you weak when you walked away from their circus. They said you were too soft, too kind, too pure for this digital wasteland. But look at us now. Look whose name gets dropped in every conversation about authenticity. Look whose story became the gold standard for survival. Look whose silence became more powerful than their loudest screams. You didn't just win. You rewrote the entire game while they were still learning the rules. Let me paint you a picture of what really happened. They saw your grace and it threatened them. Not because it was weak, but because it exposed their own emptiness. Your composure in chaos made their tantrums look childish. Your refusal to engage made their desperation visible. They needed you to fight dirty. They craved your reaction like addicts need their fix. Every post they made, every story they shared, every passive-aggressive caption was bait. And you moved like water around stones, fluid, untouchable, inevitable. Remember when they called you boring? When they said you had no personality because you wouldn't feed their drama? Those same people now study your moves like a master class. They screenshot your posts for inspiration. They try to copy your energy, but it comes off forced, fake, hollow. Because grace isn't something you can steal. It's something you earn through fire. And baby, you didn't just walk through flames. You danced in them until they bowed to your rhythm. You turned their mockery into your meditation, their hate into your fuel, their noise into your symphony of silence. The internet never forgets, and that's the beautiful irony here. Every post they made mocking you is still there, aging like spoiled milk. Every screenshot they shared in their little hate groups is evidence of their obsession. Every time they tried to expose you, they exposed themselves. But your content, your words, they age like fine wine. People share your old posts with captions like, "This aged perfectly." They quote you in their bios. They reference your journey when they talk about real strength. You became timeless while they became yesterday's gossip. They thought the internet was their weapon, but you understood something they didn't. The digital world rewards authenticity eventually. It might take time, might test your patience, but truth has a way of surfacing. And when it does, it drowns out all the noise that came before it. Now they delete old posts frantically. They archive stories, privatize accounts, pretend they never said what they said. But the internet remembers. Screenshots live forever, and their digital footprint reads like a confession of jealousy, inadequacy, and failed character assassination. You want to know why their drama didn't stick? Why their campaign against you backfired so spectacularly? Because they mistook your grace for weakness. kindness. They thought kindness meant you couldn't defend yourself. They assumed silence meant you had nothing to say. But you were playing chess while they played checkers. Every move calculated, every non-response strategic. You understood that engaging with chaos only feeds it. You knew that dignity speaks louder than any clapback ever could. You realized that building something real takes more strength than tearing others down. They exhausted themselves trying to provoke you, posted indirects until their followers got bored, created drama after drama hoping you'd take the bait, but you were too busy building your empire to notice their demolition attempts, too focused on growth to engage in their decay. And that's what killed them. Not your words, not your revenge, but your indifference. Your ability to thrive without acknowledgement, your capacity to rise without stepping on them. You made them irrelevant by refusing to make them relevant, and that's a death by 1,000 silences. Let's talk about that crown on your head, the one they tried to knock off with their petty attempts at character assassination. The one they said you didn't deserve. The one they claimed was fake, forced, unearned. Where are those voices now? Silent, absolutely silent. Because crowns forged in grace can't be destroyed by gossip. Authority earned through authenticity can't be challenged by anonymous accounts. The respect you command now isn't bought or manipulated. It's inevitable. It's what happens when truth finally gets its spotlight. They tried to recruit others to their cause, sent their flying monkeys to test your boundaries, created fake accounts to spread their poison, but every attempt only highlighted the difference between you and them. Every attack only emphasized your refusal to descend to their level. Now they watch from the shadows as your name gets mentioned in rooms they'll never enter, as opportunities flow to you like water finding its level, as the universe rewards your patience with compound interest. The crown they mocked is now the standard they'll never reach. Here's what they never understood about legacy. It's not built on viral moments or trending hashtags. It's not constructed from drama or sustained by conflict. Legacy is what remains when the noise dies down. It's what people remember when the details fade. Your legacy, it's becoming the example people use when they talk about handling adversity with grace. It's the story parents tell their children about standing firm in your truth. It's the case study in how silence can be more powerful than any weapon. It's proof that dignity is its own revenge. Their legacy? Screenshots of deleted posts. Memories of failed attempts to bring you down. The reputation of being someone who couldn't handle another person's light. The knowledge that they played themselves while trying to play you. That's what they're left with. The internet has already chosen. Your name carries weight now. Theirs carries warnings. People approach you with respect. They approach them with caution. You became the success story. They became the cautionary tale. And that gap widens every single day. They're still trying to figure out how you did it. How you transformed their attacks into your advantage, how you turned their mockery into your motivation, how you converted their hate into your rocket fuel. They study your moves now, trying to decode the magic. But there's no magic formula, just the alchemy of grace under pressure. Just the decision to maintain your standards when everyone else was lowering theirs. Just the choice to build instead of burn, to rise instead of retaliate, to focus forward instead of fighting backward battles. You became untouchable, not by building walls, but by transcending the battlefield entirely. You stopped playing in the arena they created and built your own stadium. You stopped speaking their language and created your own dictionary. You stopped living by their rules and wrote your own constitution. Now they scramble to understand the transformation. They hire consultants to recreate your authenticity. They take courses trying to manufacture your presence. But you can't fake what's forged in fire. You can't replicate what's born from real pain, transformed into purpose. 60 if you are. Let's talk metrics, since they love to measure everything. Your engagement? Authentic, consistent, growing. Theirs? Bot followers, fake comments, declining relevance. Your influence? Expanding into spaces they can't access. Theirs? Shrinking into echo chambers of their own making. Every brand that partners with you talks about your professionalism. Every collaboration sings your praises. Every opportunity leads to 3 more. Meanwhile, they're still buying followers to maintain the illusion, still begging for attention in comment sections, still trying to trend through controversy. The internet respects results, and yours speak volumes. Your content gets saved, shared, studied. Theirs gets scrolled past, forgotten, archived in the graveyard of failed attempts at relevance. You became the blueprint, while they remain the cautionary footnote. Numbers don't lie, and neither does the algorithm. It rewards value, consistency, authenticity, all the things you embodied while they were busy being bitter, all the qualities you cultivated while they were cultivating conflict. The math is simple. Grace multiplied by time equals legacy. You know how the tables have turned. They used to watch your every move, document your every step, analyze your every word for ammunition. They had notifications on for your posts, screenshots ready for their group chats, theories about your next move. They were professional stalkers with amateur results. Now they move in silence, hoping you don't notice them viewing your stories. They use fake accounts to keep tabs because they know you see who's watching. They study your success from the shadows, too proud to admit they were wrong, too fascinated to look away. You've become their obsession in a different way now. Not as a target, but as a standard they can't reach. Not as enemy, but as evidence of what they could have been if they'd chosen grace over gossip. They watch you now with a mixture of regret and reverence they'll never admit to. The irony is delicious. The hunters became the haunted. The mockers became the students. The judges became the judged. And you're too busy living your purpose to notice their spiritual stalking, too elevated to engage with their energy, too focused on your future to revisit their failures. Remember when they said your name with venom? When they twisted it into jokes, turned it into memes, tried to make it synonymous with weakness? Remember when they thought they could rebrand you through repetition? When they believed their narrative would override your truth? Now your name carries weight. It opens doors they're locked out of. It commands attention in rooms they'll never enter. It represents everything they pretended to be but couldn't sustain. Your name became the gold standard, while theirs became the cautionary whisper. People seek your advice now. They study your journey for blueprints. They reference your grace as the goal. They use your story as proof that playing the long game pays off. You became the mentor they mocked you for aspiring to be. The leader they said you'd never become. The respect you command now isn't manufactured or manipulated. It's earned through consistency, built through resilience, cemented through results. It's the kind of respect that compounds daily, that transfers across platforms, that transcends trends. It's permanent, while their ridicule was temporary. They never understood that grace isn't passive. It's the ultimate power move. It's choosing not to destroy someone when you could. It's having receipts but not needing to post them. It's knowing the truth and letting karma handle the delivery. Grace is strength so refined it doesn't need to flex. Your grace confused them because they'd never seen it weaponized before. They expected anger, anticipated retaliation, prepared for war, but you gave them something they couldn't fight. Nothing. And nothing became everything. Your absence of response became the loudest statement. They threw stones expecting you to throw them back. Instead, you built a castle. They spread lies expecting you to defend yourself. Instead, you let your life be the rebuttal. They created chaos expecting you to join. Instead, you created such magnificent order that their chaos looked exactly like what it was, desperate. Grace became your superpower because it was so foreign to them. They couldn't compute someone who wouldn't stoop, couldn't understand someone who wouldn't engage, couldn't defeat someone who wasn't fighting. You won by refusing to compete, and that victory tastes sweeter than any clapback ever could. Drama has a shelf life, and theirs expired while your legacy was still fermenting. They thought controversy would keep them relevant, thought conflict would maintain their momentum, thought destruction would be their construction. But drama is junk food, satisfying for a moment, sickening in excess. Their audience got tired. The same recycled grievances, the same manufactured outrage, the same victim narrative despite being the aggressor. People started seeing patterns, started recognizing the formula, started questioning why someone so successful spent so much time tearing others down. Meanwhile, you were building something nutritious, content with substance, messages with meaning, value that compounded rather than decayed. You fed souls while they fed egos. You created community while they created casualties. You built bridges while they burned them for temporary warmth. Now their drama reads like old news, dated, irrelevant, embarrassing, like finding your middle school diary and cringing at the petty concerns. They're stuck in 2019 while you're creating 2025. They're still fighting battles you never showed up to while you're winning wars they don't even know exist. The internet is a harsh judge, but it's also surprisingly fair, given enough time. It rewards consistency over controversy. It elevates value over virality. It remembers who showed up with substance and who showed up with smoke. And the verdict on you versus them, it's not even close. Your content gets reshared years later, theirs gets deleted in shame. Your words become quotes, theirs become regrets. Your journey inspires books, theirs becomes a chapter on what not to do. The internet archived everything, and history is writing itself in your favor. They tried to control the narrative, but narratives have a way of correcting themselves. Truth is patient. It doesn't need to shout because it knows it'll be heard eventually. And now that time has passed, now that emotions have cooled, now that results speak louder than rhetoric, the story is clear. You won by not playing. You succeeded by not stooping. You triumphed by maintaining your standards when everyone else was racing to the bottom. The internet crowned you, not because you demanded it, but because you deserved it. And that crown, it's permanent. Real influence isn't about follower counts or viral moments. It's about impact. It's about lives changed, perspectives shifted, standards raised. It's about people making different choices because they saw what you chose. And baby, your influence runs deep while theirs barely breaks the surface. They influence people to gossip. You influence people to grow. They influence people to tear down. You influence people to build up. They influence people to stay stuck. You influence people to evolve. The quality of your influence versus theirs, it's like comparing diamonds to rhinestones. Your DMs are full of transformation stories. People who chose grace because they saw yours. People who walked away from drama because they watched you do it. People who built something meaningful because you showed them it was possible. That's influence that matters. That's impact that lasts. Their influence peaked with their drama and declined with their relevance. Yours grows stronger every day because it's rooted in truth, watered with authenticity, and sustained by results. You became the example while they became the warning. You became the goal while they became the cautionary tale. Oh, heck. Every action has a cost, and they're still paying for mocking your grace. Not because you sought revenge, but because the universe keeps perfect books. They thought they were making deposits in their account by withdrawing from yours. But karma doesn't work on their time. The price? Watching you succeed in ways they can't sabotage. Seeing you celebrated in spaces they can't access. Knowing they had proximity to greatness and chose to mock it instead of learn from it. Living with the knowledge that they bet against you and lost everything. They pay in small ways daily, in opportunities that pass them by, in relationships that don't trust them, in reputations that precede them, in success that eludes them, in peace that escapes them. The compound interest on their mockery accumulates, and they can't declare bankruptcy on karma. You paid up front with pain they caused. But that payment became an investment. Every tear earned interest. Every wound became wisdom. Every attack became armor. You paid in full, and now you're collecting dividends while they're still accumulating debt. In the aftermath of their storm, you didn't just survive, you flourished. Your grace wasn't just a shield, it became your signature. People recognize it now like a brand. They see it in how you move, how you speak, how you handle success without forgetting the struggle. The aftermath for them? A wasteland of burned bridges and expired relevance. They scorched earth trying to destroy you and ended up homeless in their own hatred. They focused so hard on your destruction that they forgot about their own construction. Now they're rebuilding from rubble while you're expanding your empire. Grace creates an aftermath of abundance. It attracts the right people, opportunities, energy. It repels the toxic, the temporary, the troublesome. Your aftermath looks like everything they said you'd never have. Their aftermath looks like everything they accused you of being. The most beautiful part? You didn't plan this aftermath. You just chose grace and let consequence handle the rest. You just maintained your standards and let the universe sort out the justice. You just focused on your growth and let their gardens go untended. Natural selection at its finest. When everyone else was falling for trends, falling for drama, falling for the easy way out, you stood. Not in defiance, but in definition. You stood for something when standing was costly. You stood alone when standing together meant compromising your values. That stand became your foundation. They mocked you for standing still while they ran in circles, called you stubborn, rigid, boring. But you weren't standing still. You were standing firm. There's a difference between being stuck and being rooted. You were growing roots while they were growing restless. Now your foundation is unshakable, built on principles they abandoned for popularity, reinforced by trials they created trying to topple you, fortified by every storm they sent your way. You stand now not because you have to, but because you can. Because you earn the right through endurance. Their foundation, built on quicksand of lies, reinforced with brittle bitterness, decorated with fake facades. They built fast and fell faster. They constructed from controversy and wonder why it won't hold weight. They stand on shaky ground and wonder why you tower above them.